Zen has lent itself to being one of the most disliked chapters in all of Half-Life 1, but despite this, I personally believe Zen is one of the most memorable parts of the entire game. Zen is not only a welcome change of pace to the core gameplay, but it's genuinely fun to play through. Now, before you start booing me, it's important to note I do recognize there is a very strong divide as to why Zen is disliked. The issues people have with Zen pretty much encompass every reason under the sun, and those range from confusing level design, the fights being too hard, too easy, the poor atmosphere, and countless other issues people have with it. However, I must ignore such naysayers when quelling you is out of the question. Zen, first and foremost, I believe is meant to be taken slower by the player. You're definitely not meant to zoom through it like you would the rest of the game. We'll return to the atmosphere part of it later, but gameplay-wise, given the Super Mario-esque platforming, you're very obviously not meant to zoom through these levels. Take this part of Interloper right here. When you're making your way to the factory, if you pay attention, you'll notice there aren't a lot of enemies here, and it's probably better just to be stealthy anyways, because they're not thrown at you to get into a firefight immediately. Although I do personally like to dispose of these alien grunts with a little explosives. Further adding to the implied stealth here, you do need to sneak past yet another set of these Japanese fun noodles before you reach the factory. Once you get past these guys though and you kill this alien grunt, you'll finally go through the portal, and arriving here at the factory reveals this place is huge. Contrary to most of this game as well, the progress here is largely vertical, which I have seen a lot of people claim makes the level confusing, but honestly I just don't see it, because even on my very first playthrough of this game, I never had problems navigating the level design in this factory. Even the enemies you fight here aren't really that hard, to be honest. The Vortigaunts you honestly can just dispose of like normal with a shotgun blast, and the Magnum makes quick work of any alien controllers. Now of course, your ability to shoot isn't gonna save you from falling to death. A lot of people like to blame Zen for this shoddy parkour, which I don't really think is fair given the fact that Half-Life 1 has pretty clunky movement as a whole, and Gordon Freeman being an Olympic sprinter is absolutely not helping the situation. My case in point is these containers right here, because I'm fairly certain everyone has struggled to make these jumps. And whilst we're on the topic of parkour, I also want to bring up this section here. Yes, it is underwhelming, no doubt, but it's not difficult. If you just have a little patience, you'll get through this area with ease. But what actually makes Zen such a memorable chapter is its atmosphere. Seriously, slow down and look at this world. This may be peak 90s graphics, but it still looks so mystical. Valve did a great job of showing this alien world, but also hinting to us that it's likely not meant to have any life in it whatsoever. Remember, this is a border world. Nothing is native to Zen. It should have no activity, but this moment of awe in this alien world is quickly broken. Dead Black Mesa scientists litter Zen, and pressing on will encounter some work equipment. For observant players, you'll see that Vortigaunts are actually working on this equipment as well. One has to wonder to himself, what is going on in this world? We had hints earlier in the game that Black Mesa was experimenting on these aliens, but very evidently the depths of their research go far deeper than we previously thought. When we finally arrive our way to the factory in Interloper, we also see that humanity very likely were not the first ones here. These aliens host not only a far larger but also far more complex facility. Further investigation of this factory will show us the Vortigaunts are not going to attack the player unless these alien controllers show up. But also, take note of these containers that are on the conveyor belts. They have some interesting cargo. When we bust them up on the ground, we can reveal that alien grunts are stowed inside of them. This raises a lot of questions to us, like, are they manufactured creatures? Are they cruelly transported slave soldiers? Are they Metal Gear fans? There's no definitive answer to these questions. It's largely up to your own interpretation of the environment around you. But of course, for most of you that meant aliens bad, so bang bang boom boom, kill them all. Now everyone watching up to this point has probably noticed something. I have yet to mention the Nihilanth fight at all, and even for a Zen defender like myself, it is impossible to say this segment of the game is perfect. The fight with the Nihilanth is easily one of the most disappointing boss fights I have ever played in any video game, ever. For starters, once you figure out all you have to do is destroy the crystals and spam the gluon gun at the Nihilith, this fight is laughably easy. The only thing stopping you from a 1-minute victory is these god-awful teleporters. I do not know what Valve was thinking when they programmed these into the game. They are annoying and they add nothing to the fight whatsoever. At the absolute bare minimum, if you could dodge the teleporters long enough, they should dissipate entirely and you don't have to worry about it. But no, you're just gonna be whisked away from the fight anyways, and even when you do beat this boss for all the hassle, you're probably not even gonna be rewarded with anything, since every time I've beaten this boss fight, it's glitched in some form or another. Yes, I can understand the manta ray being annoying for some people, but that segment of the game is more unnecessary than bad. I can get people with neck injuries not being able to look up to progress in the factory. The Gonarch fight is so mid, I honestly forgot about it up until this point, so that's why I'm bringing it up now. But the Nihilith fight, it is just straight up bad. But beyond that, Zen is mostly fine as it is. Yes, Valve did have to meet a deadline when they were creating this part of the game, and it could have been better, but to pretend Zen is outright horrible is laughable. It's one of the most atmospherically cool places in all of Half-Life, and it still has that signature environmental storytelling we all love. Zen is not perfect, but for the most part, it is fine as it is.